Hey everybody, it is jessicaamaladawn, and I am here to provide you with a energy update and reading for the new moon in Scorpio coming up on October 27th. I am feeling like my perspective on this is going to be different than most other people that you might come across on YouTube or other astrologers or readers. Really, when I've meditated into this energy and based on the past readings that I've done, excuse the frog in my throat, it's been there for a while, lots of clearing around communication going on. But what I really sense from a meditation is that this is an opportunity to really ignite our spiritual self, really ignite our Merkaba, which is like the star tetrahedron shape or the 3D Star of David in our hearts, and from that fully ignite, I guess we'll just say our like golden toroidal field, and like draw in our golden abundance and our kind of, we'll just say our new earth reality, our personal experience of a golden age. And so that is very, very different than a lot of the darkness and chaos that is kind of lurking, around this idea of Scorpio and being, an energy where a lot of secrets are kind of exposed. And I don't want to say that that's not valid, because it is, because especially I think for a lot of people with a predominance of masculine energy, there's going to be a lot of, having to like kind of go into that stuff that's been kind of hidden under the surface and the water, the murky waters. Whether that be subconscious or intentional deceit. There's a lot of kind of stuff that needs to come to the surface and clear with respect to communication around masculine energy that previously was wanting to control, whether you're a man or a woman that's carrying that energy. But what's really kind of I think kind of expeller pressing it out, we'll just say, is this Merkaba energy that wants to kind of come in. And there's all this light, divine light from source that wants to come in to really ignite that, to purify the toroidal field. And that's really, I think it's important to realize that with a very pronounced expanded consciousness when navigating these energies, because I think otherwise, like, you can kind of get lost in the waves, lost at sea in the emotional waters of Scorpio. Especially since I think that Venus is going to be there in Scorpio as well. So there's definitely a higher spiritual, very profound event happening. Even as I try and say it, like my throat is like, because it's like we're like in speaking this, I'm helping to kind of bring this consciousness into existence. And so we're going to start, actually, because of the spiritual nature that I feel around this. And part of why it's also so significant is because this new moon's opposite Uranus in Taurus, and they're both at 4 degrees. So we've got the 4-4, the 44, which is a very spiritual number of union, of unifying energies, of above and below, of spirit and matter, especially since Uranus is the great awakener. Like, it provides those lightning bolts of awakening into the physical world. And it's sort of like illuminating, when you've got Scorpio, you've got the water, you've got the depths, you've got this like lightning striking water, and it's very, that can be a very broadly electrifying, illuminating experience of everything that has been hidden. But what it also is doing when it resides in the heart, when your heart's fully open, is that energy can, instead of kind of getting stuck in all this earth energy, this old earth energy that's maybe unproductive or full of densities that are like kind of old and just dead and not relevant, is that energy can kind of stop in the heart and in that ascended heart, and that Scorpio energy, instead of being lost in the murky waters, it's really just but you could say like a profound uncovering of the depths of your rawest heart. And that is what I'm seeing is what ignites the Merkaba heart. So it's a different perspective, and I hope that kind of makes sense. But having given that intro, I'm gonna pull a Lightworker Oracle card from Alana Fairchild to see what the overall energy is, spiritual energy is for the new moon. First ray of power. Okay. So, and also interestingly enough, initiated by water is on the underside of the deck. So it really speaks, I think, a lot to what I was saying about all of this. Like, this is like that Uranian lightning bolt of awakening coming in, the light of divine source coming in to ignite our angelic nature on earth, and really igniting the heart. Like I mentioned, that's the Merkaba heart. But it's, you can see it is by water. It's happening with water, but he's also hovering over the water, right? And it's a 5. It's a change. It's like sort of an ascended water. There's no drowning going on there. The water is just helping to facilitate the flow of this energy, and it's really grounding it, I think, into new earth. So that's really beautiful confirmation on the underside of the deck. And with this first ray, again, we've got something that's very like potent and pure, and you can see that like the mind is connecting to the cosmos, and that we're really opening the gateways to cosmic communication through this aspect, through this new moon alignment opposite Uranus. And so, and you can see she's actually very relaxed about all of it. It's not chaotic at all. Nothing about it is overly heavy or drowning in emotion. There's no conflict. There's no turmoil. It's all about cosmic consciousness. So I just want to take a quick. Yes, I do. I want to kind of quickly take a look at further depth into the book for this particular card, just to give you a little bit more information. So it says here, if your life purpose involves either driving a meaningful political cause forward or assuming a position of leadership in some other way, you'll feel the truth of this at this time and be given encouragement from the Ascended Master El Moria to trust yourself as a leader with heart and awareness. And it says, finally, when this ray makes its way into your life, it's time to accept the loving gauntlet being thrown down by the universe, right? Which is from Uranus, right? That awakening is loving, even though it might be jarring. And that's why they're saying it's thrown down by the universe, because it's like, ugh. And take the hands off the controls of your life, and certainly Uranus will force us to do that. Detach and be curious. The universe will show you exactly what you need and remove what you do not. Again, clearing away a lot of the mental clutter that is preventing this peaceful cosmic consciousness from taking root. It's very important at this time. And if something or someone is no longer a part of your life, it will be so that a more beautiful, truthful, and satisfying version of what you are surrendering can come into your world. Remember, the universe loves you and wants only the best and most beautiful life experience for you. Trust it enough to let that happen now. So in some cases, it says specifically it's an energy. The first ray of power is an energy of conscious destruction. It can be used in a healthy way to eliminate the past and allow for a fresh start. And so it can help you to stand in the truth of your light so others can find their way by it. So believe, Ascended Master El Moria wants you to believe in your own strength and take initiative on what matters most to you. So, I think, for some people, they might be wondering about continuing on with certain relationships and whether or not to clear them out. My love reading, I got a little bit of a different message there around that with some counterparts. But in either case, regardless of how the results of whatever communication might happen between a divine masculine and a divine feminine counterpart this week, and whether or not that produces something that moves forward or whether or not it makes way or clears to make way for something new, it's know that whatever kind of destruction of the old occurs at this time is making way for this new, for you to fully come into this initiation that I mentioned, this Merkaba initiation, so that you can have this greater cosmic power and really become a galactic citizen, a baby galactic citizen. So what we've got next here is the energy oracle. And I'm gonna pull I'm gonna pull a card here for the overall divine masculine energy for the new moon in Scorpio. And I'm gonna pull one for the overall for the feminine energy for the new moon in Scorpio. Okay. And what's the kind of combined energy for the masculine and feminine for the new moon in Scorpio? Okay. So for the masculine, we've got the yin yang card and number 22. So coming into balance, this actually came up on the feminine side as well in my recent reading. So definitely, and in the same position too. So like definitely coming into more balance at this time, which is allowing for this opening, this ascension into this like higher perspective. And so, it could be that there's some sort of action that's taken regarding kind of finalizing a choice and then making some action towards that choice that's been stagnant for a while, is what I kind of sense with this, based on my sense that the masculine's been very kind of stuck in a bit of an overly yin space around spiritual matters, and just taking a step towards opening up to it and getting more clarity that way. And for the feminine, we've got the World in reverse. And so, yeah, I feel like there's there's this desire to have this cosmic connection, this cosmic vision, but there's a little bit of challenges around it. And it could be that the weight of the world, the world's problems, like being a little bit too overly involved, and like you can see here that there's like a very detached perspective and looking at the bigger picture that really creates the opportunity to have a completion, a closure, clarity, abundance, travel. And in the reverse, there's some sort of like it's not necessarily having that full kind of detachment and clarity that's needed to really fully benefit the most possible from it connecting to these energies. So it's just something to be aware of and pay attention to. And the combined energy is financial constraints. So my sense is that it could be that because of financial constraints, this is part of why there's a difficulty in taking the level of I guess we'll just say that big picture brainstorming, dreaming, big picture thinking that is like really far out, really bringing in some very far out energies. There actually is a planet that they call temporarily far out, bringing in these really far out galactic energies. And having that bigger picture could just be hard because of like real world financial constraints, and feeling like if things are taking too long and that things are not manifesting into abundance fast enough. But again, like I think it's really important that I saw this meditation before I pull these cards, because when in this ascended Merkaba heart, when that ignites and the toroidal field ignites, that's what brought in all of the golden abundance, and it was very abundant. And so I think that's it's a message for both the masculine and the feminine for this upcoming new moon, to really kind of go to that space and stay in that space in order to get into that fully 5D place that's required to move past these old 3D limitations around financial constraints, and into the right expanded awareness that will take you to the next level. And on the underside of the deck, what we have for that is the sun. So I don't think it's without hope. I think that there's that, again, I think that by connecting with that golden light, that cosmic light, with those dreams, right? With the creativity, with the fertility, by having the, if you can, truly connect with that energy, I think it's going to help a lot to move past some, probably some current financial struggles that may start to be seeming a little bit daunting at this time. So without, falling into a place of overwhelm and fear and reactionary measures. So we're gonna pull another card for like the advice from the energy oracle for the masculine regarding the new moon energy, and advice for the feminine, divine feminine, regarding the new moon Scorpio energy. And what's the overall advice? Yeah. So for the masculine, we've got the Archangel Metatron card. It's also the 6th chakra card, so the third eye. But it's, it's in reverse. So basically there's, this has come up in the other reading as well for the divine masculine, this whole like igniting the unicorn horn, like igniting the pineal gland, or like the 3 cauldrons, igniting that 3rd cauldron in the pineal gland with the light, really calling in and connecting with this initiation that wants to occur this week from above, from this that's really possible through this clean slate 0 point Uranian energy coming in on the new moon. But with this reverse, it's kind of like just saying like there could just be some obstacles to really fully connecting, maybe because there is a little bit too much action being taken and maybe more of a need to go inward. But calling upon Archangel Metatron will certainly help. And we've got again here these like beautiful angel wings, and I feel like it's really like bringing that energy of Archangel Metatron down in and integrating that into your DNA, into your physical vessel, into your light body. And Archangel Metatron is so powerful, creating these big shifts, these transformational, like no turning back shifts. So that's as the feminine, experiencing that from the feminine side. So I think that's really great message. And for the feminine here, the advice we've got is 1st chakra, Archangel Michael. So there is some success in terms of feeling a little bit more safe and secure, regardless of some of these financial potential constraints that are around. So that's really positive. And I think that it's just like really about building upon that. And we've got Archangel Michael's sword, so it could be like that there's some energies and people that need to be cut away that might be creating this like financial constraints that might be kind of, I hate to say it, like energetically robbing you and preventing you from being able to fully come into your abundance. What we've got though for the combined energy, and I think it's also very telling, is envy in reverse, which is all about like really like stepping into gratitude and releasing old expectations of what you should have materially at this time in the material world, and feeling becoming like more safe, and feeling more safe just with yourself and with less, and without certain codependent attachments or cords or ties to certain people that you used to think that you couldn't really live or survive without. Could be parents, could be siblings, could even be like partners or ex-partners, but like really just having to go a little bit more in spiritually and realize what's really good for you on a spiritual level, and just like like really letting go. I mean, here she's like staring out at all the golden riches out there, and yet inside it's really very dark. And the gold, my meditation was all about finding that gold on the inside instead of the outside. And I think that's really the key message. So in the reverse, I think it's very possible, and I think that like there's some congratulations that this will follow through and happen for people this week. And that some, tendency towards, we got on the underside of the deck, thinking man in reverse. So some tendencies to overanalyze, or to maybe be, pondering, what's out there with the, this like curiosity factor, what's out there that I could achieve. I want it all. I want everything. And how am I going to get it? Some of that's kind of being, I think, is being released. So that's really great. So let's pull some Akashic Tarot. Just like for what to kind of expect in terms of, what the overall kind of energies are for events and actions at the new moon in Scorpio. And what else? Okay. And what else? Okay. All right, good. So we've got here first, we've got really positive. We've got views of the ego in reverse and clearing the way in reverse. So this is really positive. This is basically, it's like finally realizing that certain people from the past are like basically not going to change, and cutting them loose, like getting a lot of clarity on that. And I think, again, I was really drawn to Archangel Michael's sword and cutting ties and feeling really safe and secure in your own and being, being victorious in that this week. And with this card in, reverse, this is all about like being connected to selfish people. And it's really just about, coming to like a real clear sense, again, like we've got here with a first ray of power, coming to a really clear sense about like people that don't belong, that need to be cut loose, that are holding you back from connecting with this, really with your financial abundance, with your cosmic connection, with all of it, and cutting them, cutting them loose. It's happening at this new moon, and that's fantastic. And then what that's also doing is it's clearing the way, because there is like some major obstacles in terms of like coming home to yourself and coming home to like bringing that golden light again, that abundance in the physical in previously, because of these connections, and it was creating a lot of blocks. So letting that go is really going to open things up to move more fluidly. And I really have felt that a lot in my previous readings for the masculine energy, that there's just like all of a sudden this like flash, this huge flash of energy of unstuckness that's really going to start coming through, and with this coming up now on the feminine side as well, and in the overall energy, I feel like it's very true for everybody. So what we're also going to do is we're going to pull a gateway card for some advice for love regarding the new moon, advice for love regarding this new moon. And what we've got is accepting what is. I accept and embrace my inner majesty. And then on the underside, we've got savoring pleasure. I fully embrace bliss in my life. So yeah, so again, I think this really comes back. This is definitely the blue rose connected to the cosmic consciousness. We've got the cosmos in the background, and welcoming all of that in. And it's very appropriate that it's like we've got initiation by water, right? With the savor and pleasure, having this bath. And I feel like, so it's a really, really good idea to either get into a bath or into a pool on the new moon, and really kind of surrendering into this higher connection. And if you're a masculine, to really like specifically like allow the thoughts to clear so that your pineal gland can open and clear out. So, but for both, it's relevant. It's a very relevant message. And I think that the accepting what is it's really tied to this whole energy of like letting go of envy or thinking that things should be different in terms of like again, like this sort of like financial difficulties that might be present at this time.